YouTube, this is Felicia with Bible Scraps, and I have not filmed on this desk in well over a year. Let's see how this goes. I hope you all are well, no matter where you are in God's part of the world. We had more wind yesterday. We had a break one day, and it came back the night before last, and it was breezy yesterday. It's calm right now, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we continue to get this beautiful wind. I have not experienced wind like this for years, and I'm soaking it all in. But you guys, I have a journal kit for you all. The name of this journal, Purity, because it's all white. You guys just have to wait and see what's included with this handmade, heart-made, homemade custom journal. You get all of this, and you are going to be excited about some of the contents in this kit. Now, it's only $35 shipped. I know, $35 shipped for this eyelet embroidered beautiful lace journal. Now, the inspiration for this journal, well, I made this particular one in memory of my mom, who's been deceased for 30 years. I finally have a beautiful book that I can return to over and over and over again when I want to spend time with my mom, when I think about her. I have a book now. I'm not calling this a junk journal because that just don't feel right, but I have this centralized place where I can record my thoughts, random thoughts, right? Memories, stories, recollections, scriptures, and quotes, and so much more. I finally have a beautified place I can spend time with her. Now, this is the actual size journal that will be included in this kit. It is a nice size. And did I say $35 shipped? Yes. Priority mail, PayPal, Cash App. You guys check the description box below. If you're interested, you must email me at biblescraps@yahoo.com. And once again, I'll have all the information listed below. Now, it's 6 inches by 10. That is a nice size. And I wanted to use a special paper that I purchased in the early 2000s. When I first started crafting, I made journals. So I have a boatload of the book board and the papers, but I couldn't access that paper. So I decided to use, and this is thrifted paper, but I believe you can buy this today. This is called bond paper, and it has a watermark, and it says 25% bond, and it says something else on it. I consider this to be a specialty paper. It's not your ordinary computer paper, but it feels very nice to the touch. This is primarily for me a writing journal. I plan to actually write directly on the pages. Let me share this first page I have started. Already I've jotted down thoughts about my mom. And I tell you, once again, she's been deceased 30 years. And I do write my memories down, but you know, I don't know where they're at. I don't know what physical journal they're in. I don't know what file I have them in, but I'm so happy to have this. I haven't felt this close to my mom in I don't know how many years. People, I kid you not. If you have a deceased mom, grandma, or loved one, you might want to consider picking up this journal. And the cool thing about working with white is, and you will see in future videos, so like and subscribe and stay tuned, you can transform white into any color you like. Now, it don't have to be as sentimental like my journal is for my mom. You can use this any way you like. Now, let's flip back open because there's something cool about my journals. And this was a happy accident several years ago when I made a journal. my pages, bind the pages totally straight. And I ended up with a waterfall effect. And I've done that pretty much ever since. It was an accident, but now I do it intentionally, and I love it. When it's all decorated, it's going to look really cool with this waterfall layered look. And also, take a look at my beautiful binding. I know, right? Okay, so I was inspired by something I made maybe 10 years ago, if not longer, and it's this book here. I was up in my junk room about a week ago, and I came across a Ziploc bag that had several of these in it. I had forgotten about these. Now, I was inspired to make this by a craft show. Remember when we were able to watch craft shows on TV like Carol Duvall and Scrapbooking Memories? And there were a handful of other shows that I watched, but my all-time favorite show was Crafters Coast to Coast. And I got some good news. I have reconnected with that show on Amazon because you can purchase a subscription and watch it. And I have been watching that show nonstop. But anyway, I was inspired by a crafter I saw on Crafters Coast to Coast. And I've watched this particular show several times already. I just love it. So the idea with the stitching and the beads came from that show, and you see the beads here. Just a beautiful journal. Now, there's one thing that's different about my journal from the ones in the kit. I have added a special edition, which is this antique fabric pocket. Antique because I cut this square pocket down from an antique napkin that I picked up at my favorite thrift store several years ago. One of the workers there, who is no longer there, and by the way, excuse my fingernails, I've been working with ink. He pointed out to me this particular buy. And what's so cool about it, it was a bundle of napkins with a handwritten antique note. So it tells a story about being a gift for a bride. And it also stated, wash gently because it may fall apart. I decided, because this journal has such significance to me, why not share a piece of this antique linen in the journal? So mine don't have one, but the ones in the kit will. Also, something special about this journal is, take a look at the inside cover. Actually, you can see it. Well, first, let me show it here, but also, flip it here. It has a signature. I love, love, love. Once again, at my favorite thrift store several years ago. Some of you probably saw this in a junking and thrifting video back then. But I found a couple of boxes, and I should have got that third box. And it had a boatload of these oversized prints in it. And I fell in love with this beautiful flower and someone's signature, R. Lee. This tells a story. I believe it has age to it based on the box itself, but it tells a story. And so I used it to line the inside of the book. Careful to show the signature of the artist. All right, let's get into the contents of this kit. Now, in the video, I stated that I was going to cut down the 12 by 12 inch papers. I did not do that. What I ended up doing was just folding the papers. So that's what I will do. I'll fold it. And I like that because you might not like the sizes I was going to cut the paper down to. I wanted it to fit in a first class mailer, but after I weighed it, it was over a pound. So it will ship in a bubble a bubble flat rate envelope. It's going to be secure, but because I was shipping it in a larger envelope, I didn't have to cut it down into smaller squares. So that's one note. Also in the video, I refer to this kit being $30. It's actually $35. Alrighty, check the description box. Email me at biblescraps@yahoo.com if you are interested. Oh, and I only have 4 of these available. And I don't plan on making these again, but if I do make them again, it'll only be maybe 2, and it's going to be more. So if you are interested in this, get it now, because I may not do it, and if I do it, it's going to be more and only 2. Alrighty, let's talk about these papers, these yesteryear papers, these fresh black and white papers that came from my favorite. Well, it's just not the same anymore. Tuesday morning, I got these papers. I want to say about 10 years ago, because I do have the dates on the package. Some of you might remember these papers. Now, here's the thing. These are 12 by 12 inches, but they will not arrive 12 by 12 inches. Some papers I will cut down into 4 quadrants, and then some I'll cut down into 4 by 6. But you have this one here, and that's single sheeted. You have this one, which pertains to the cure, cancer, and that's single sheeted. Now it's cardstock, so it's a nice weight, and I love this one here. Look, the date is 2011. These papers are discontinued, and I love Canvas Corp Company. But you see, you have different words here, and then there's this black and white one, which is double-sided. You have these trees here. Now we get into the 12-inch size die cuts. Like the paper, they will not arrive in its original form. I am going to pop these out because these are pop-out journaling spots. Look at that. Love, love, love it. And look at this one. Important message memo. You can do a lot of journaling with these. And then there's this one, which might be upside down. Once again, I'm going to pop these out. You can see how it's perforated, and some are popped out. Now, there's 2 missing here, but in your kit, you'll have all of these. Now, this one is a birthday celebration. Let me pull my journal back out. If you're going to use this to celebrate the life of someone who has passed on, yes, you can use the birthday pieces. For this here, the menu, which is here, I brainstormed. I wrote down different topics that I remember that I want to document in this book. Excuse me. So it don't have to be about food, but it can be about food. You improvise and get creative with it. And then there's this sheet, which is the final, I think this is the 6th sheet. 6 whole sheets of these pop-out die cuts. This one has glitter around it. And look, it was for the graduate, but perfect for this black and white journal. Alrighty, and then I love, love, love this sheet here. And I will be careful when I cut this one down because I don't want to cut into the words. When I see this, I see stickers. What I will do is put double stick tape on the back. I'll cover this whole entire sheet, and then I will cut out individual words to create vellum word stickers. Love it. And then you get a piece of my prized, I think this paper, this notebook paper came from Y2K. But this is that glow in the dark paper. Do you guys remember this back in the year? You use gel pens on this paper and it comes to life. Well, you get a single sheet of black. And then you also get a 6 by 6 inch square of, what do you call this? I'm going to call it vinyl. It has sticky on the back, but this was for the slice machine, the Making Memories slice machine. So you can die cut any shape out of this black and white vinyl type. And there's more. Yes, indeed. Alrighty. You have this vintage. Do you guys remember this? And I know, well, I think back in the 80s, right? 90s too, perhaps. But anyway, it's a vintage credit card receipt. Remember the machines? You slide the card in, or you slide this and it prints out the credit card information. Well, you have the full pack. It has two. I thought it had 3 different sheets. And then this is fun. This is a vintage bingo card. Yes, in black and white. It says copyright 1941. I don't know if this comes from 1941, but isn't that cool? And then one thing, and I don't see these in junk journals, but I love to use their labels. And it may not be sticky anymore, but you have stickers, and you can use stamps to stamp out a sentiment, or you can journal on these and apply your own adhesive. So fun. And then these, the perforated Rolodex. Love the sound when these are separated. Got a sheet of those. And then I'll come back to these items here. I don't have all this organized just yet. And there's a authentic sheet of typing paper. I didn't bring up the package this came out of, but I have a typewriter, so I do use these papers to type on. And you can cut these down and type on or you can journal on a smaller piece. Now, this isn't too old, but this is beautiful. It's wedding stationery, and I'm not sure if the camera will pick up this feathered edge with what looks like, what do you call that? Liquid pearls, but it's beautiful with the envelope. And then, okay, did I bring, oh, I did. Look at you guys, Woolworth. We shopped at Woolworth growing up. So whenever I see something with Woolworth, it tickles me because it takes me back to 4th, 5th, 6th, perhaps 7th grade too. Well, there's several sheets of the memo refill, perfect for journaling. And then there's 3 of these white, are these called security envelopes? But anyway, you have 3 to alter and play around with. And then take a look at this beautiful embossed placemat. I envision this, or using this, cutting down smaller pieces for that special page effect. Love, love, love it. This will be folded or cut down to fit the packaging. Oh, you know what? I did bring up the typing paper. So I pulled out a sheet from this pack here. It doesn't have an age. Also, several sheets of these 1988 or 86. These are the score sheets from a vintage 80s board game. And I actually use these in different ways. Of course, you can journal on them, but I use my Sizzix, and you could use any dies. Let me see if I can grab. Okay, I'm not. Anyway, I use my original Sizzix envelopes and different shaped dies I love to make the pockets and the envelopes with these. So that's a tip for you all. Okay, let's get into some lace and trims. I did not measure this, but you get quite a bit of this white lace trim here. And then I finally get to share this. I have a boatload of this. I thrifted this some years ago, and it's perfect for this black and white journal. I did not measure it, but it's probably about 20 to 24 inches. And it may look like it don't go with this, but you know what? You could just use maybe, because it has these grommets in it, you could just cut off one grommet and use it on a tag. You know what? I'm going to do that. I like that. Okay, and then there's this black doily. I had no idea how I would use this. My first thought was Halloween, but I don't really do Halloween. But you know what? That's going to be perfect here. Now, this is odd, but it's black. It's a leather Western boot. Okay, it's black, you guys. It's black. So I really don't know what this is, but to me, it's trim. I got a large spool of this, so I'm including it. And then there's this trim here. Remember, all of the white can be stained, and then got to have the rickrack, right? And then look at this beautiful studded trim here. There's a nice piece of that. And then I don't know if this is cheesecloth. To me it is, or if it's gauze. It opens up. Perhaps it's both. I don't know. But I'm going to use it as cheesecloth. And then there's a beautiful piece of embroidered, and there's tiny specks of sequins there. That'll look, any of this translucent, very thin fabric, you can layer. And then you have, I cut this from a curtain. You have an embroidered flower, and then another embroidered flower, which in one of my recent junk journaling pages, I shared probably the same flower, and I used my alcohol markers, and it colored very nice. That's a tip for you all. I'm going to continue to do that. Now, what's special to me is, because I'm a person of faith in the Lord Jesus Christ, and I have cut out a little snippet of my cross fabric. And here's my idea for this. You can cut out individual crosses and use them. You can layer and just use a die cut cross in your project. So there are several crosses to cut from. And then, once again, I'm a person of faith. This comes from a vintage board game all about the Bible. So there's 2 cards. Let's see. What was Jacob's name changed to? Okay, Israel, right? How many years did the people of Israel eat manna in the wilderness? Okay, was it 40 or 20? We're going to find out because the answer is on the back. I think it was 40 years. Who did the carpenter encourage? I don't know. Okay, people, us. I'm going to assume that's Jesus. Let's turn it over and see. Israel, correct. 40 years, yep. The goldsmith. I totally was wrong. I got to read that. These Bible cards are fun, and they're black and white. And the last of what's in this kit is, I decided to add some of the ruffle that came from the curtain panel that was used to create the curtain or to create the journal. This is part of the lace ruffle trim. And then I'm including a piece of fabric. I thought perhaps you want to make a tag or use pieces of it to accent a page. Now, paper napkins. I love me some paper napkins. Now, these paper napkins are not the full sheet. These are a quarter of a paper napkin. So you only get this one this one panel here, which you can do a lot with it. Once again, subscribe, stay tuned, because, well, several years ago, I shared some cool ways of using paper napkins. Here's a Parisian themed paper napkin. Once again, you only get this square piece here. And look at this beautiful lace. Gorgeous. I already shared this one. That's not a paper napkin, no. And then you get this panel with these cute 4 girls. In addition to this, there's also, now I love to use this. This is receipt paper, and I'm including a authentic strip. I say authentic because I put this in my vintage receipt machine, and I cut off the paper from the machine, so it has that textured edge. I love to use these in my typewriter. As a matter of fact, here is a little snippet with a wider piece of receipt paper here. In addition to the larger vintage memo refill, here's a smaller one. And then take a look at the black and white scripture-based Proverbs coloring card. Love that. And then today is May the 17th. Here is a daily word calendar, of course, in black and white. And yes, you can journal on the back. And the last item that I can think of right now is this little fun embellishment pack, which will come like this, and it includes, this is a swirly embellishment. This has age to it. I know it does because I found these in the original packaging several years ago. They're by Wilton, the cake maker, and they were used for a wedding. I have these in 2 different sizes, and it's white. Yay! Okay, there's also a white jumbo paper clip, and I'll just pour everything out. There's a couple elements, only 2 elements in this entire kit is not white, and I'll share that in a second. But you get, this is a cool little collection of things. You have white pearls, you have this white, and excuse my fingers if I didn't say that, they're stained from working with ink. You have this white sequin tag. There's a tiny dot or hole at the top. And then you have some black and white buttons, including, this is a special button to me. I don't know if you can buy these today. So you have that one, and then you have some basic black buttons. And I don't know if these white ones have any age, but there's 3 of these artist pins. They're known by different names, but I call them artist pins. There's a little bitty paper clip, and then there's a cute shaped, and the shape may be different, but this is a shaped paper clip. Now, the only 2 items that is not black and white is this crystal heart, which color will vary, and a cross. The color of the cross will vary. I think it's appropriate to include a little bit of color, right? Because it's black and white, you can add colors to it. I think this is a magnificent collection. I look forward to working in my journal dedicated to all things. I have not baked bread for months. I got some bread in my bread machine. It's a vanilla sour cream bread. Haven't made it in a couple years. I'm so excited. I love the smell, oh my goodness, of homemade fresh bread. So I am baking bread, and I'm going to do my famous cinnamon bread, raisin cinnamon bread, perhaps tonight. But I got it all packaged up except for the journal. You get a lot. This is an excellent deal. $35 for all of this. And a handmade, heart-made, homemade, custom journal. Oh, I tell you, I feel so close to my mom. When I think about her, I can just grab this journal, I can grab this kit and sit down and record my reflections about my mom. Once again, you can use this any way you like. It is gorgeous. It is beautiful. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and do so. Why not hit that like button? Why not hit the notification button for future uploads? And once again, I don't intend to do this again, but if I did do it again, only 2 kits, and I'm going to up the price. It takes a lot of work, a lot of woman power to put this together, but there are some cool sheets of 12 by 12 inch sheets of black and white die cuts. If you bought those individually, come on, but you can't because they're discontinued. They're no more. Fabulous kit, you all. Email me at biblescraps.com. Information will be in the description box. And I want to thank you all for watching. As always, blessings.